What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. And this is where we at now. So you clearly see the title of the broadcast, and this is a huge situation here in America that we're going to have to bring to light here. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows this and things like that. So teachers in our American schools are starting to quit and things like that because of it also breaks down too because of the family dynamics and stuff like that. It's a lot of things that's going in place. We can't just blame the teachers for not educating the students when we are sending, you know, children to school without any proper structure or discipline and things like that. This shit starts at the home. So we're going to dive off into this and we're going to see what people have to say. So let's go here now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes.
There's this viral trend right now on TikTok of educators who are announcing their resignation. Teaching is hard. Education is hard. Education post-pandemic is really hard. It requires a lot to be an educator for very little pay. As someone who's a former teacher and former principal, one of the issues that we've got to talk about, we have a very monolithic pathway to making more money. That if you're an educator and you want to make more money, the options are become a principal and then go become a superintendent. That's one way. But then there's so many other pathways to making more money while staying in education that we've created this narrative that in order to make more money, you got to work your way up the ladder, work your way up the ranks. And oftentimes you're dealing with more of the same issues that are creating tension and wanting to leave. What are the different career pays within education that also are paying market value in comparison to other sectors? Education consulting is one of those pathways.
So I'm here and I'm thinking that, of course, I think our teachers, of course, are not being paid enough to, do their job. It's sad to me that, we have a system that teaches our children and things like that to become these productive citizens, multimillionaires, all this type of stuff and things like that. And what I'm saying, we sit there and we, pay our teachers, the people that are supposed to give us the instructions, whether it be grade school, middle school, kindergarten, grade school, middle school, things like that. And, all the way to college and through these, college college is a different level. So yeah, there are also, colleges nowadays are, graping society of funds, but that's neither here nor there. All I'm saying is though, regardless of college, the regular teachers before everybody gets to college are being tremendously underpaid in my thought process and things like that. And I get it. They have to deal with the most, at this point. In today's society, these new age teachers are losing the luster and things like that teachers used to have. And I had some great teachers in school, and I still check upon a couple of my teachers and stuff like that. And one of them has passed away. But man, stop it, bro. It's wild out here. It's wild out here. So let's keep going because it's crazy. And we're going to check this out. Real talk. So my bad.
Bring back Hooked on Phonics. Bring back spelling test. Bring back old school spelling test. Hold on. Old school spelling test. I know when I bring out regular paper, I'm going back to the 1900s. Remember old school spelling test? You had to write your name. You had to number it. You had to do it like this. You had to fold it in half. And then you had to spell apple, banana. We need to spell coincidence. We need to spell dexterous. We're in high school. Y'all know what I got? I got a book for y'all. Hold on. Bring back. I have this book. I've had this book.
So obviously she's saying that these people are in high school and can't spell certain words.
Forever. Since actually I was in high school, more than likely. I have two of them. 100 words every high school student should know. Know, not learn in high school. Bizarre, spell it. Boisterous, spell it. You need to do this with your friends. Have a party, have a game night, make a spelling test. I seen somebody do that. Divulge. Can you divulge that information for me, please? Omnivore, can you spell it? Outrageous. Recede. Spectrum. I'm just reading books that high schoolers are supposed to know. Yet, they taking these tests and they're like, Miss, I didn't know some of the words. Because y'all don't read no books. We're not testing them in vocabulary. We're testing them in can you read? Phonics. Pronunciation. I gave them a quizzes that said, how many syllables are in the word rhinoceros? They were like, Miss, what's a syllable? What's a syllable?
It's wild out here. This is wild. This is wild, people. And this is where we at right here. So we're going to keep going because, you know what I'm saying, we need to figure out more here. The reason why a lot of these teachers are giving up on our students.
Know that Gen Alpha
Or on our
can't read.
children.
My child is in the 2nd grade and can't read.
I teach 7th grade. They are still performing on the 4th grade level.
Over the past 30 years, many American children stopped learning to read.
Around 40% of our 4th graders can't read at a basic level.
I can't do it no more. I can't do it.
Why can't they do it? Because of how they're being taught.
The power that we are going to learn today, it's called picture power. Can we say picture power?
Picture power!
She's teaching reading using balanced literacy, a technique pushed by teachers' colleges that's supposed to make reading more fun.
The learning goal would be that the children were able to.
The issue here is that, you know, learning, while it's supposed to be a little fun, but you know what I'm saying, we're supposed to have teachers that can, you know, give the children imaginations, not systems that we put into place to give children imaginations. This is a system that's been put into place. This is crazy right here.
Use a picture to figure out an unknown word.
They're training the kids to be bad readers.
Niels Hoven, who designed an app that teaches kids to read, says,
But if you ask any parent who's teaching their kid to read, it seems fairly obvious. You teach them the letter sounds and you teach them to blend those sounds together, and then your kids start reading.
That's called phonics. The National Institutes of Health
Right.
says systematic phonics instruction produces significant benefits.
For some reason, for the past several decades in our school, this is not the way that they teach reading.
One reason is that liberal activists said phonics drills take the joy out of reading.
They're so boring. I swear they do a better job than Nembutal or Trazodone in putting children to sleep.
And see, this old ass dude right here, he learned how to read by that old system. He learned how to read by that old system. Let's not, you know, let's not hold these older people right here accountable. They want to get into this new age crap and stuff like that. This is ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous. Our children are suffering because y'all want to rearrange a system that has been working, you know, all these years, work for plenty of generations. Now y'all want to try to do some new shit.
I swear they do a better job than Nembutal or Trazodone in putting children to sleep.
This balanced literacy teacher actually discourages her student from sounding words out.
Stop doing that. Stop. You can't sound out. I don't know why you started doing that.
Instead, the child should
Look at
That's what I grew up with, sounding the words out. What are we doing here? What are we doing to our children and stuff like that? They already taking cursive out of schools and stuff like that. And that's something that you people out there are not understanding. To write in cursive, to read cursive, is to understand that the true written word of the language of what was going on in this culture. You can't even read the Declaration of Independence unless you know how to read cursive. Period. Unless you know how to read cursive, you cannot read the Declaration of Independence. And that's a true statement on this country. This is what we live by. The Declaration of Independence in this country. You can't read it unless you know how to read and write cursive.
Get the picture.
And try to guess the word. Balanced literacy was widely accepted until 2 years ago, when podcaster Emily Hanford released a series called Sold a Story. Parents told her,
it didn't seem like they were really teaching them to read. It seemed like they were teaching them to sound like they could read.
States quickly started passing new science of reading laws that put more emphasis on phonics. That upsets education professors like Andrew Johnson.
I'm a bald-headed liberal, but I've been teaching students how to teach phonics for the last 29 years.
Johnson says the balance between phonics drills and real books should be up to teachers.
A teacher's job is to help children fall in love with books. Based on the need of the kid, you design instruction.
What they've been teaching, he says, was just fine.
You don't want the government involved in stuff, right?
No.
Why are they getting involved in reading instruction?
Because you people screwed it up so badly.
Oh, me?
Education
Who are
professors.
we people? How did we screw it up? I hope they look back and call this the Hanford era. In 10 years, when they see this house of cards come tumbling down, when they see they've wasted billions of dollars on this boondoggle.
Some teachers' unions join him in opposing the new laws.
I'm impassioned about this because it's a social justice issue.
Johnson helped create this journal that publishes articles that say how literacy is taught has everything to do with race, class, and identity.
Right. I definitely agree with that. You know what I'm saying? And also how, people learn finances and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it is what it is. And it is what it is over here. So let's keep going. And we're going to see some of the treacherous situation here about how some of these kids are acting in school.
Y'all get up and move.
Look at this. A lack of parenting.
Get out the class, everybody get out the class. Everybody get out the class.
So they just letting these children run around here and be mini terrorists. This is ridiculous right here. I didn't grow up like this in school. I didn't grow up like children would. Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? Man, what? You gotta fucking stop it. Are you kidding me? Man, I didn't grow up like this in school. This is crazy. I'm just growing up in school. I never seen any of my classmates act like this, outlandish like this. Now, I did see fights and stuff like that amongst each other at school and stuff like that, middle school, grade, high, things like that. But Jesus Christ, man, they just allowing this young man to just roam, young man, whatever. Because who knows nowadays? Jesus, man, this is crazy. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Where's the discipline in these schools? And then y'all wonder why these teachers are out here quitting. Because, these parents out here are raising many terrorists, and they send these bastards to school every day. And I'm sorry, I can say that. I'm not a fucking bastard. I had a father, like I said, plenty of times and throughout my broadcasts and stuff like that on my channel and stuff like that. I'm a preacher's kid. Also, too, you know what I'm saying? I had, my mother, aunts, both sets of grandparents, stuff like that, how it's supposed to traditionally be. And Jesus Christ, I'm not saying that I'm a perfect human being neither. I have my issues and stuff like that too. As a human, but Jesus, man, stop it. I never did this type of craziness in a school as a child. This is wild out here. This is wild. Look at this bat.
Hey, y'all come out. Yeah. Y'all go out.
Oh, fucking
Dr. Mama is right there in Miss Wilson's class doing the observation. You want to grab her? You want to grab her? I'm sorry.
This child was raised by a mama. Look at that. Look at that emotional shit. Let's keep going.
Genuinely terrified for this next generation of children. I decided to work at a summer camp this year, and I didn't understand the severity of the brain rot. Holy shit. Not only is their lingo actually terrifying, but the entitlement and genuine stupidity, and I'm sorry to call kids stupid, but like, we are not smart anymore at all, is so scary. I had kids not knowing that there were 7 continents at the age of 12. Half the kids cannot spell without asking for how to spell it or just sounding it out, which is baffling to me. And I understand that there's like some 4-year-olds and I'm like, you don't even know how to write yet, like you're chilling. But at the age of 8 to 12, if you don't know how to spell the word exit, it's kind of scary. Next issue is the genuine entitlement that kids nowadays have. And I'm coming at this from a youngest of 5, spoiled brat, youngest daughter. Like, I got everything I wanted. I never got in trouble for shit. And I'm saying that these kids are entitled. I had a 10-year-old boy break down, like throw a literal hissy fit for 30 minutes over one rule changing in walkie-talkie tag, being that there can be more than one person guarding the jail. It's never been like that.
Hold on. What is walkie-talkie tag? That's some new age shit too. What are y'all doing with these children? It's called walkie-talkie tag. Growing up, listen, what is that?
Trying to make us look.
Get down in the comments and let me know. If y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my child is grown. My child is, 22 years old. So I never heard of walkie-talkie tag, even when I was in school. Like that walkie-talkie tag. What the fuck is that?
Calm down, you're 10. I had to literally Urban Dictionary so many words this year, and it's so scary. There was a point where we had coaches playing this game. It was literally flip clap, but all the coaches were playing and the kids were watching. I had 30 kids chanting "live cells," and I said, what the fuck does that mean? I didn't know what I didn't know what it meant to sell. And so I asked one of the girls, I said, hey, what is lives? Like, why were they chanting "live cells"? And they're saying, oh, you suck. And I said, okay, I guess that's fine. We were playing Capture the Flag the other day, and I had a kid upset with one of the calls, and he did this. He was like, dude. He was doing replay from the Euro Cup, expecting me to know what this meant. Replay. Where's the cameras? Like, where do you expect me to replay this, you falling and you're out? Like, where do you expect that? What? Like, it's so strange.
Man, oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know what she did. Man, sometimes some people don't need to be teachers. Let's keep going.
Teacher, and I want to talk to all the teachers out there who are struggling. I've been posting on this app for 4 years now. In the last week, I've had 2 videos go viral very, very quickly. Both videos talked about how much teachers and schools are struggling right now, which is overall not a positive thing and kind of goes against the message of everything on my page about seeing the positive and trying to focus on the positive and not the negative. But the reason I left schools is because I realized that no matter how positive I tried to be at school, without discipline and without consequences, I was not going to have the effect that I wanted to. Students that I spent so much time building a relationship with would still disrespect me over and over again. And I couldn't hold any consequences because the school would not back me up if they just no-showed my consequences. So I just want to send a positive message out there to all the teachers. You're doing the best you can. Don't ever listen to the haters who say that you don't care or you're lazy. The ones who try to gaslight you and act like everything's fine when you know it's not. But if you are teaching in an environment that is bad like this and you are still hanging on, then you are an amazingly strong person, stronger than I was. You have to recognize that if your mental health is struggling, if you are taking home the negativity that is happening at schools, then that's where you have to look at yourself and say, is this worth it? And I know you're like, I can't leave them. I can't. And listen, I get that. I didn't want to leave either. The crazy thing is that I feel like I cared too much. That's why I had to leave, because it affected me too much. You have these core values and you see that they are not being played out, and you know it's wrong, and you can't do anything about it, this is how so many teachers feel right now, which is why you're left with a choice: to accept that reality or to leave. I realized that the reason that things were so bad was because they did not have a good home life, period. Whatever that meant, though. It doesn't matter if the family was rich or the family was poor. That has nothing to do with it. The home life could still be terrible. And the home...
Wow. So ooh-wee. So whether the family has money or not, and of course, we all know in logical society, whether you have money or, things like that, it doesn't matter if you're not raising decent human beings and instilling them, decent wisdom, or making sure that your children know how to be, decent citizens and work with one another and stuff like that. Because that's what it's about. Listen, look, man, these children are out here being dumped off on these teachers and stuff like that. Like he said, whether rich or poor, they're being dumped off on these teachers. And these teachers are having a hard time dealing with these disrespectful ass young people. And I get it nowadays. Everybody wants to sit there and be like, nobody wants their children to respect elders anymore. And, just because you're this age, why do you deserve respect? Listen, look, if you're sending your child to a school and stuff like that, it's a chain of command that's supposed to go on in society. And it's always been this way until recent times, that children are in a certain place in society. Always been. They don't know enough to talk out the side of their neck to people that's been living on the planet longer than them. And they need to learn. They need to shut the fuck up, and they need to understand that they need to gain knowledge. Now, at the same time, though, too, we have a huge problem nowadays, too, that a lot of these children are gaining knowledge from people that they ought not need to gain knowledge from. It'd be their parents or outside entities, things like that, internet, all types of stuff. It's crazy out here. But this is where we at here. And in my generation and a generation after me, we didn't have these issues to where we had a huge amount of influences on our lives. The TV was one thing, stuff like that. And then, now we got the internet. So these new agers are learning a different way, and they're gaining knowledge a different way. And it's making them highly disrespectful, when they're sitting in these classrooms. It's crazy out here. Let's keep going.
One more thing I want to talk about as a teacher. Why do y'all's kids feel like they don't have to respect the rules and regulations of the classroom? I made a seating chart. I make seating charts every time my kids take a major test. So they had a seating chart at the beginning of the year. They just took their summative exam. I made a new seating chart based off their data. I'm a teacher. That's what we're supposed to do, right? Why do your kids feel like they can come into my classroom and sit wherever they want to? Now, I've had years in prior, like last year, where I had students who would come in and do their work, and then the days they knew were like a little bit more laid back, lax days, they're like, hey, Ms. Blackwell, can I go sit and, beside this friend? Absolutely. Because this is the thing. Those kids did their work, right? They did their work. So I didn't mind my kids last year that asked if they could go sit with a friend. That was fine, because a lot of the times they did their work. I didn't have any issue with them talking, none of that. This year, I have kids that just come in, sit where they want. And not only are they sitting where they want, they're sitting where they want, and they're running their mouths. They're not doing their work, and they're talking, disrupting the whole class.
Wow. And then y'all are wondering why these underpaid teachers, male or female, these underpaid teachers, and I've always thought that teachers, definitely after I, have gotten grown, I always thought that teachers need to be paid a little bit more than what we do, delegate to our teachers in society and stuff like that. We depend on these people to teach us the information from kindergarten all the way to college to better ourselves, right? Hold on. You know, we depend on these people to teach us to better ourselves, right? And if that's the case, you know, when the teachers teach these children to go off and be better individuals, and they gain the information and the knowledge that they need to get these jobs and careers, and some of these students go off to run corporations, some students go off to be blue collar workers, some students go off and things like that. You know, I'm just saying, man, that I think we need to pay our teachers a decent wage, because it's ridiculous that they definitely in the new age. I get it that, you know, previous times things were different, but in the new age, and they have to deal with, you know, us as citizens, and, you know, the home structure's fucked up. You know, a lot of children that come to school nowadays with dumb thought processes, no discipline from the household and stuff like that. And everything starts at the house, you know, but this is where we at. And we have our teachers out here suffering to teach these individuals when they're talking at the side of that, when these little people, hold on, these little people are talking at the side of their necks to adults that have been through things, that have went through stuff and made sure that they came out on the other side. They tried their best to be productive citizens, and we are shit. And you out there are raising these children to be disrespectful to the people that are supposed to educate them and make sure that we have the next side of society actually be applicable. So when we get old and stuff like that, that they could run the country properly and give us the Social Security and everything that we're supposed to have set in place. Shit. This is crazy out here, man. This is crazy.
I'm tired. Why are y'all not teaching these kids any level of respect?
Right.
I'm tired. I've never been this tired in my life as a teacher. I normally get tired around January, February. That's normally when I'm like, okay, I'm done. I've been tired since September, and I am ready to walk away from education. I'm so glad that I finished my master's in clinical mental health counseling next year, because I'm ready to be done. I am actively looking for a way out of education, because when I say education is in the trenches, along with everything else going on in the world right now, I don't have the mental capacity to deal with y'all's bad kids, because y'all don't want to be a parent and y'all don't want to give them any sort of discipline at home. I am done. I am exhausted. From destroying my things in the classroom, to not following rules and regulations, to skipping class. And I get kids have done this for years, but when I tell you it's like times 10 now, it's times 10. I'm done.
Yo, she says she done. And it's plenty of other teachers out here that feel this way. And, you know, we have a huge problem here. To where our teachers, and a lot of you parents out there, you're not going to homeschool your kids, stuff like that. We all have that problem, stuff like that. You know, definitely hardworking individuals and things. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is out here. You know what I'm saying? Average people. You know, but it's your duty to make sure that you teach your children how to conduct themselves in society as polite individuals. And we've gotten away from that. You know, a lot of coaches and stuff like that. And, you know, I don't give a fuck the race, whether or not, and I hate to keep bringing that. I hate to bring that up, like, but it's all the children, regardless of the shade of color. Our children in America nowadays are highly disrespectful to adults. And it's due to the fact that we've allowed so much to go on and things like that as adults. We've been so, you know, rearranged our mental process as adults, and also to the internet has some certain degrees to play in it and things like that, but it breaks down to the home dynamics. It's just like that lady that got jumped on by those children in Chicago. That's an egregious situation. And then they tried to come out and talk about, make a video with this young girl apologizing and all type of stuff. So where the rest of those young people at with their apologies? Man, this is crazy. Our children are not being disciplined enough in order to learn or either grow up to be decent adults in society. And they want to sit around here and wonder why, or not even wonder why. Like, most of y'all people don't even understand that, when y'all get elders in society and shit don't pan out because these people can't run the country properly and stuff like that, and then y'all gonna want to wonder why. Y'all gonna wonder why 30 years from now, 40 years from now, that the generation now is not running the country properly because they're gonna be stuck on stupid too much, and they can't properly spell, or they can't properly do anything that needs to happen and things like that. In order for them to be productive citizens, y'all gonna wonder why. Man, this is crazy out here. It's crazy. Our teachers are highly disrespected. I think they need to be paid more, and it just is what it is here, man. It just is what it is. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.